Tell us about the history and evolution of your book.
Oh, Freedom Village. Well, actually, Alan started it, and he was writing about the history because he had his hip fractured by the police on that last morning at 6 a.m. in the morning. And nobody in the media, nobody in the police ever acknowledged it. So he was really writing his story. And then we got talking about it, and I said, look, this is such a big story. Your story's huge, but there's so many other stories as well. So we expanded the whole thing, right?
Yeah, we brought lots of other people in. It was Sue's idea at that point to expand it, and it made a really good book of it because we had all these other people. Because things like, how did the food get there? How did they feed 4,000 people a day? And, you know, I was stunned to see, was it the Hare Krishnas did 4,000 meals a day?
Yeah,
4,000 meals. So we wanted to know where this came from, how it happened. And so that was the good part of the book. And the thing about the book is everything in it is true. It's what happened. And I said to Sue, if we don't write the history, the government will try and write it for us. So let's get in and write it first.
So we've got, I think, about more than 50 people's stories. Some are just short and some are quite long. But what we wanted was to get the hidden stories behind the scenes as well as the stories about what was happening. And then we've also got, I've done quite a bit of analysis about some of the legal issues, and we've got a lot of information about the medical issues, about the police. We've got stuff from Hansard, we've got stuff from what some of the MPs were saying at the time, the media was saying at the time. We've tried to get as many perspectives as possible to really get the whole spirit of what was going on and all of the different kind of versions and beliefs and whatever we could really pull together. Some
of the stuff we uncovered in doing it was, for example, the Deputy Chief of Police, what was his name? I can't remember now. But he gave us an OIA which showed that in it he says we have identified the people who are involved, we've produced their photos or their images, we've sent them around to our people, and now we're actively pursuing them. This is what he said in an OIA, actively pursuing them.
So much political interference by the police. That was one of the real themes of the whole thing. And the other thing was all the way through, Jacinda and the government was saying that they weren't interfering with the police, but I managed to get under the Official Information Act their WhatsApp messages. And the WhatsApp messages showed that they were in direct contact and they were planning together what would happen. So we've got a lot of the government's own documentation in here too.
Yeah, the police actually, Costa actually told Jacinda that we can't do anything, the protest is quite legal. And from what we saw with the WhatsApp messages, he said, I don't care, get rid of them.
Yeah, we're paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, and Costa had told her they're doing it legally.
It was really double standards, and it was really, when you look at the law, it says one thing. I mean, my interpretation was that really the police rioted against the public and they caused serious harm. Like, I'm really surprised that they didn't get people going to the disputes tribunal asking for recovery of their tents and their computers and all of their private property that the police destroyed, because the police, from what I can see, never had any right to smash property. Their job is to protect the peace, not to assault people, riot against people and smash private property.
What about the sponge things they fired at people?
Oh, the sponge bullets. I mean, there's a woman in there
go through a car window.
She was hit through the back windscreen in the back of her neck. Unbelievable. And they said, the police said, well, most of our police aren't experienced firing sponge bullets. Well, don't fire sponge bullets in the public if you can't aim. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
And
quite a story.
And some of the stuff we uncovered, which was other people had bits of video of, was of the Antifa people getting the little petrol cans out, little red petrol plastic cans, and going into the tents and setting fire to them, and then coming out and rushing out, and the tents were erupting in flame. We've got all that, and people don't realise we also got a picture of the police pushing a trolley along full of blocks and bricks.
Yeah, what on earth was that?
Yeah. So there's a lot went on.
We've got a lot of research in here. Like people that were there, like we knew the kind of spirit of what it was all about and that kind of number 8 wire mentality, which was awesome. But there was a whole lot of stuff like none of us really knew. It was only when we started writing the book and people contributed their stories and we were going, wow, I had no idea that happened.
What about the fire hoses? Weren't the police operating fire hoses?
The police were firing fire hoses at members of the public.
Don't know what they're doing.
And knowing that it may cause harm. Fire extinguishers as well. And there's actually a court decision where somebody was prosecuted for firing a fire extinguisher and the judge reported how dangerous it was and how toxic it was. Well, the police were doing that. It's like, it just defies belief. I mean, I'm just so happy that we took the time to get this story recorded because the risk is they rewrite history and gloss over it. But this way we've got thousands of copies out in the community. We've got it in public libraries. We've got it all over the place. And people can remember the story. They can explain to their children what happened. You know, I think... Yeah, it was a bit full on trying to write this on top of everything else, but I just felt like it was such an important thing to do.
And you mentioned the Police Complaints Authority?
Yes, the good old Police Complaints Authority. How could the Police Complaints Authority find... Well, even with Alan, right, the police came down the road at 6 a.m, they smashed him with a massive shield, they fractured his hip, he went to hospital, he spent a week in hospital getting a replacement hip, and the Police Complaints Authority said, oh, no, we can't investigate that because we don't know what policeman it was. Well, we've got a video of the policeman assaulting Alan and he wasn't wearing a mask. Now, how many police that morning were in the front line of the Alpha Squad and weren't wearing a mask? Somebody knows who that policeman was.
And I have a letter from the Police Inspector of Integrity, what a name, police, saying it was my fault because I was there.
Yeah. They're trying to excuse themselves under health and safety because we were there. But the thing is, we weren't committing a crime. We were in a public place doing what needed to be done to reclaim New Zealanders' rights from what was really a tyrannical regime. We had to do it. New Zealand came together to, where would we be now if we hadn't have gone to Wellington and done that?
But you were assaulted on the street, you weren't even in Parliament grounds, were you?
No, I was out on Hill Street, Moser Street, on the corner by the cathedral.
Public street.
And the speakers were saying Parliament grounds are closed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not
like you weren't in Parliament grounds.
No, I remember thinking that at the time too. Okay, so what? Parliament grounds are closed, but we're not on Parliament ground. What are all the police doing storming down the street?
And our vehicle was seized and it was in a parking spot in a proper...
While you were in hospital getting assessed for your hip, and I answered the phone to the police and said, look, I'm in hospital with Alan, his hip is fractured, please would you leave the vehicle there, it's in a proper parking spot, I'll come and get it as soon as I'm out of the hospital. And they emailed back half an hour or so later and said, no, we've taken it.
And then they said the next day when Sue went out there, they want to examine it in case it's been used in the commissioning of a crime.
Yeah, it's an old vehicle that was parked. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It's almost like a comedy show, except that it was really serious. Like, it's quite frightening, the abuse of power that went on in those days.
Any final comments?
No, I just want to thank everybody. Read the book.
Yeah.
Ask your library if they've got a copy. If not, please.
And give it to the library or give it to your friends or family for Christmas, because what we need to do is get this story out to everybody in New Zealand. We're really hopeful one day it'll be like a school study and a university study. It's the only book of its type at the moment. But the more people we can get to realise just how crazy the whole situation was, the better.
Yeah, we just
Do
want
you have a
people to read
website
it.
or something?
Yeah.
freedomvillagebook.com.
Okay.
We just
you can
want
buy
people
it through
to
the
read it.
webpage and there's a bit of information. We've been getting some really awesome reviews, so
So it's freedomvillagebook.com.
Villagebook.com. Yeah.
Okay, well thank you very much for the interview.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.